Okay, so let's have a look at the sixth adjustment for a Kenny, the 2021 sole trader account. So it tells us the suspense figure arises as a result of the incorrect figure for mortgage interest. So it's telling us that mortgage interest is wrong. So it's telling us that this payment that we have in our trial balance for mortgage interest, which is for the first 3 months, so mortgage interest paid for the first 3 months, 2,375, that's wrong. Although the correct figure is entered in the bank account, so the bank account is correct. So we need to fix the mortgage interest first. There's a couple of adjustments with the mortgage interest. We're going to have to find out how much is the mortgage interest first. How much should we have paid for the year to go into our operating income, to take away from our operating income in our profit and loss account. Find out what we should have paid for the first 3 months, and then adjust that then, and adjust for our suspense. So our fixed mortgage is 280,000, but this was increased on the 31st of the 3rd, 2020 by 50,000. So we're going to have 230,000, which is 280 minus 50. 230,000 is going to be multiplied by 5% because that's what we have for the full year. 50,000 is going to be multiplied by 5%, and then it's going to be multiplied by 9/12 because that's how much interest we have there. So let's have a look at that adjustment first and see how we deal with that. So we've got 50,000 multiplied by 5% multiplied by 9/12. So remember, we only got this extra mortgage on the it's got the extra mortgage on the 31st of the 3rd. And then for the full year, then we'll have 230,000 multiplied by 5%. So the total interest that we should have paid is 13,375. Now that usually goes into your profit and loss account. You take it away in our profit and loss account. But there's some adjustment to this in the question. So say you note 20% of mortgage interest for the year refers to the private section of the building. So we're going to get 25% of that. So 25% of 13,375 is 2,675. So our operating income less our operating income is 10,070. So that's how much interest we have to pay for the year. Then we need to find out of the interest for the first 3 months, which is the 11,500. Remember, this 230,000 is for the full year. So the first 3 months, our interest should have been 2,875. So we take 11,500, we multiply it by 3/12 because the mortgage interest was only paid for the first 3 months. So if we look at the question, in our trial balance, it says that the mortgage interest paid for the first 3 months. So our mortgage interest should have been 2,875. So we paid 2,375. It's coming straight from the question. So we should have paid 2,875. So you need to increase that by 500. So on your trial balance, you're going to put in plus 500. So that means now that our debit side is up by 500. So remember, your debits and credits have to equal. So these, your debit side must equal your credit side. But if we're adding 500 to the debit side, they're not equal. So we go and see where our suspense. So our suspense is in here with our advertising. So if our debit side is up by 500, if we take away 500 from our advertising, then our debits and credits will be the same. And that's the first part of your mortgage interest. So we've calculated what the interest is for the year. We've calculated whether our mortgage should be increased or decreased. And then we're going to find out how much is left to pay. So our mortgage interest should have been in total 13,375. We've paid 2,875. So what's left to be paid then is 10,500. And that's your liability in your current and your balance sheet, where your creditors due within 1 year in your balance sheet. So when we do our mortgage interest or trying to fix your suspense for mortgage interest, there's three figures we're looking for. We're looking for the operating income figure. We're looking to see whether we need to increase or decrease our mortgage interest because that figure is wrong. And then we're looking to see how much mortgage interest is due. So the next part of your suspense is to say, and payment of $2,900 to creditors entered only in the bank account. So we paid our creditors, we only adjusted our bank account, but we didn't adjust our creditors. So our creditors have to go down by another $2,900 because we paid an extra $2,900. We just didn't adjust it in our trial balance. This has to go down by $2,900. So remember, our credit side is now down by $2,900. Your debits and credits have to equal. So remember, our suspense is including our advertising. So if we are advertising on the debit side, if we take $2,900 away from our advertising, then our debits and credits are the same. So our adjustment then is going to look something like this. So you're going to have your creditors as per the question. So our creditors in the question, they are 68,600. So it's going to be 68,600, take away 2,900, and that's going to give us 65,700. Now these are just for the next couple of adjustments that we're going to do, so I wouldn't be worrying about these figures here. This is the figure we're looking at for the suspense account. And then for your suspense account, then we need to adjust our advertising because that's where our suspense is. Our suspense is in advertising. And from our trial balance, we said we're going to take away 500 and we're going to take away 2,900. So we're going to take away 2,900 for our creditors, take away 500 for our mortgage. So our suspense is going to be, our advertising is going to be 32,600. That goes into your expenses and your profit and loss as a selling distribution. So that's your suspense done. So looking at your mortgage interest, remember three figures for your mortgage when it's done incorrectly in your suspense. The interest for the year to go into your profit and loss account. What you need to increase or decrease, or 3 months mortgage interest paid, and what's left then for mortgage interest due. And then for the payment for the creditors, we need to take away 2,900 from the creditors because we paid an extra 2,900. And then we need to adjust the expense. This time it's going to be advertising. It's kind of easy if you put the minuses on the trial balance. It'll help you to know whether it's a minus or a plus, looking at whether the debits or credits are the same or not. And that's your suspense adjustment completed.